Yeah, it helps if I put my microphone on. So, welcome to my first ever Twitch stream, which so far has been riddled with lots of technical issues. Lots of problems with the audio because I forgot to include the game audio into the stream. But now that should be fine. So, today we're playing Kerbal Space Program. We're gonna start a new career and play it on the career mode and see what kind of space program we come up with. Let me slap myself into the corner there. Okay, so let's start a new menu, and what would be a proper name for our space program? I know, I'm so boring. I think I'm gonna go with the C7 Aerospace Division. Started with the normal difficulty. So, for those who haven't played Kerbal Space Program before, this is a kind of a simulator game where you manage your own space program. Basically, you have there's money to deal with, there are people to deal with, there are different rocket designs, meaning you build rockets and airplanes in this game, and you have some missions to deal and contracts to fulfill. It's the thing that has taught me orbital mechanics, and it does it in a quite intuitive way. So, let's see what we have. We have 25,000 Kerbal monies. Our reputation is neutral. We have absolutely zero science. We need to collect science in order to advance our space program. We can spend the science on new gear, like bigger rockets and whatnot. So here's our vehicle assembly building, where we design and build all the larger rockets. There's a tracking station which we can use to keep track of where our spacecrafts are. There's the R&D development, where you can spend your science and get new parts. There's the astronaut complex, where you can get new astronauts, and there's the spaceplane hangar and the mission control. We're gonna go to mission control, and we're gonna try to find some contracts that we can fulfill in order to get some Kerbal money to buy new fancier hardware and also gather some delightful science. Receive or transmit any science experiment data from Kerbal to achieve this goal. We're definitely gonna take that, because we can do that from the launch pad without actually doing anything. Also, we can launch our first vessel. That's something we can definitely do. We got some money in advance from those contracts, and now we have these active. And if we fail these, there's no penalty for these, apparently. That's good. Well, let's try not to fail these. Let's build a quick rocket. Werner von Kerman gives you instructions on there. I have read those, so I'm not gonna bother this time. There's our capsule, which is the base of all manned spacecraft in this game. We have to decide who goes in there, and we want to train our pilot, the Jebediah Kerman. He's gonna do our first flight, and his apparently comes stock with the capsule, so buy the capsule, get a pilot for free. That is handy. And I think we have only one solid fuel booster, and there's not much other parts we can use. Some aerodynamic parts, and do we have... yeah, we have a parachute we can put on the nose. Here's our staging. Currently it's would launch the parachute and the engine at the same time, but let's not do that. Let's slap the engine right there and stage them so the engine goes first and then goes the parachute. And we want some science, so we take some mystery goo. We click the button here to enable symmetry mode, meaning that we can put one here and one magically appears on the other side. And this is our skiing science. We go one. I think we're all set up. We can go to Launchpad. Oh yeah, I'm a brand new to this space program, so my launchpad is pretty much a hole on the ground. There's like absolutely nothing. Well, let's gather some science first. First of all, let's take Jebediah to EVA and make an EVA report. We keep that experiment and we store it in the capsule. Then we can observe the mystery goo. Oh, we can only observe it if we are a scientist. Well, we are not scientists, so we board the craft and we observe mystery goo. And we keep the data. Then we do a crew report. And we keep that data too. And in order to maximize our science from this run, we have to take Jebediah out again, then take all the experiments from the capsule and store all the experiments back to the capsule. And now, once we take flight, we can make another crew report. Let's enable flight stability assist, and well, it's a solid rocket booster, so we really don't need to touch the throttle. Let's check our staging is still correct. Yeah. And off we go. We make a crew report here. And we observe mystery goo. And the goo jiggles and wobbles as the craft flies. Makes all the senses. We want to keep those experiments. First, slowing down. We're about 13 kilometers. Still going. Let's see what our apoapsis is. It's right here. So we back to the Earth we go. Here's the cockpit view. What Jebediah sees. You can access that by clicking C. And here we're just casually falling back to the ground and our parachute. is, and it should slow us down, and we're about to land. Not too far from the launch pad, I see. Can follow the shadow, and we're here. Thank you. Now, because we're in a quest for science, we EVA Jebediah. We do the dance with the experiments, and then we can go on an adventure. What has happened to my camera? I don't know. Anyways, we can make an EVA report from here. Then we keep the experiment. Then we can recover vessel, aka Jebediah. And he had some science with him, and we recovered him. And he gained 1 experience point. Yay. And you can see our space vehicle. Science vehicle 1 is here. And if we recover it, we get a bunch of science, a bunch of money from the parts. So this mission was very cheap to us, and we got some data. Let's go back to the mission control and see, we have completed both of these at one go, and now we have quite a lot of money compared to our start situation, and now we have 35 science. So now we can go to the R&D department and ask what they can come up with. Basics of engineering, engineering 101. You can get a decoupler, thermometer, antenna, and another antenna for 5 science. The thermometer allows us to collect so much more science that let's take that. Then we have the basic rocketry, which we can also unlock, which is unlocks the first liquid fuel engine and a tiny liquid fuel tank. Also a bigger solid fuel booster. We're gonna need those both. So with these we can already develop a lot better rockets. Let's see what else is available. There's the survivability, and there are some heat shields. These are needed if you come back home from orbit and you go like 2 kilometers a second. These keep you from burning up in the atmosphere. There's the pressure barometer, which helps you to collect even more science. I think we're gonna need that. Radiator panels, landing struts, these are good for landers. Service bay, radial mount parachutes, there's the rogue chute and regular parachute. It's 15, so it's most of our science that is left. I don't think we care about aerodynamics at this point, so we leave the stability. Let's check what's in the general rocketry, which I already did. Actually, I didn't. There's even bigger liquid engines and even bigger tanks. I think we can be better off at the start if we don't go with the bigger stuff yet, rather than we have more tools to gather science. So let's research those, and now we have 10 sciences in the bank. I think we should be good gold with those. Let's go to the mission control and check what else is available. Well, they want to test the flea engine solid fuel booster again, which we just did, but now there's a available task for it. So I think we're gonna take that. There are stuff like escape the atmosphere, which is rather easy, but we're gonna save it for a bit later, because if you do the higher, if you go straight to the orbit, then you kinda lose the opportunity of the previous like lower level perks, so you can no longer do those. They want us to test the TD12 decoupler. Quite high, so that is outside the atmosphere, so let's save that for later. We don't have the hammer yet. So now we have the test the fleet engine at Kerbin. So basically we do the same experiment as we just did, but we modify our craft a bit. We no longer need the goo, but now we have more science. We have parameters, which we're gonna... You can also select the symmetry mode using X, which is quite handy. We put 2 parameters and 2 thermometers. There we go. And let's check that we have the flee. This is our science vehicle 2. And let's launch it. There we go, we're back into the launch hole. It's not much, but at least we can gather some pressure data from it. Collected and recorded atmospheric pressure data from the surroundings. That is boring. Let's keep it anyway. And let's log the temperature here too. They are quite literally nominal. Yeah, that's helpful information too. We already have the crew report from there, so we don't need to do that. Let's enable the stability assist here. SAS. And it's a solid booster again, so no need to touch the throttle, and let's check the staging that it's still correct. We want to launch the engine before the parachute. And let's check if I find our... Yeah, there are the objectives. So basically we complete this mission when I launch the engine, I think. There we go, now it's completed. Let's log some pressure data there. Let's log some temperature data. And then we wait. But lucky this game has a physics time acceleration, so it calculates basically the trajectories, etc. quite with less accuracy, but it does it faster, so you can kind of time warp in the atmosphere. So now we're doing 4 times the real time. You can see it on the top left corner. We open the parachute. Let's see if it adds some drag and slows it down a bit. And it should open at 500 meters. See our shadow there. There we go. Gently floating towards the ground. And we have arrived. And because we have already walked outside here, so we don't need to take the EVA from here. We just recover the vessel and see all our glorious science. So we gathered 20 science, now we have 31. We recovered all the parts, including the monopropellant. We could have emptied the tank, so we could have gone a bit higher, but I forget that the capsule has 10 units of monopropellant. $882 for thermometers, like some damn space thermometers. Well, now the Jebediah did the same trip again, so there was no experience for him, so we should have probably swapped him out for another pilot. But now we have more science, and now we probably have more contracts here. They want us to test the Mark 16 parachute. And then there was the Hammer solid fuel booster test also. Let's not take those yet. Let's go check here what's the cost first. There's the... no, that's a Thumper. We already have the Hammer. And do we have the better parachute? What is Mark 16? I think we already have those parts. Huh. So we need to go from 4 kilometers to 11 kilometers. And test the parachute at that altitude. At this planet. Yeah, let's take that deal. And let's see what this paste contains. We have to leave the atmosphere for that. But we can test the swivel engine. Let's take that contract and... did we already have it? Swivel engine, yeah. Let's go build some rockets. So... let's keep all the science stuff still. This is what we don't need. Let's add some delightful mystery goo. See, it's all symmetric. It looks nasty, but whatever. Then there's some tiny fuel tanks, and let's add more tiny fuel tanks. And the liquid engine. We need to build a staged rocket in order to get that part of the contract. I think I'm gonna leave that. We shall get into the multi-stage rockets in the next episode. Thanks for watching.